Have you seen Sims 4 challenges involving genetics? There's tons of videos circling around showcasing how players play with genetics in The Sims 4. Genetics work differently from The Sims 2 throughout The Sims 4. Interestingly, there's one massive genetic feature only exists in The Sims 2. No Sims 2 players is unfamiliar with the dominant and recessive gene system. In The Sims 3 and The Sims 4, genes tends to be random. The child will inherit features either from his dad or his mom, and the chances of this is mostly 50-50. In both games, roughly, changing their appearance in the mirror means changing their genetics. This means that the child will inherit the new genetics. Though both games are now able to detect colored hair and prevents it from getting inherited. In The Sims 2, changing your Sim's appearance in the mirror does not change the traits that will get passed down onto their children. The game will remember the true traits and can only pass down those traits. So, how big are the impact of the dominant and recessive feature on genetics anyway? Well, this feature allowed The Sims 2 to be the only Sim sequel where a child can express traits from generations before their parents. But unlike the later games, the inheritance are not restricted on the traits that the parents express. Let's see this in Gabe and Gabby's family tree. This is Gabe and this is Gabby. They're twins. We see here that none of the parents have blonde hair, so where did the blonde come from? You can figure this out if you take a little peek at the family tree and trace back on how they got it throughout the generations. And there you go. They inherit their blonde hair from their grandfather, which inherit that from his father. In other words, the twins' father has this blonde gene in his coding all along, passes it on to his kids, but he himself do not express it. So just because it's not expressed does not mean it's not inherited. This happens again in the twins' genes because the twins also inherit their mother's red hair, but they do not express it. You can already get an idea on how complex genes can be in The Sims 2 compared to the later games. It is the reason why I still have to see a trait 3 generations ago in my Sims. It is also the reason why families look like families, even though they are generations apart. I will be discussing genes and family features from many resources, but mainly the Sims 2 Prima guide. Keep in mind that things from this guide may be outdated, and it is known to have some unmatching information, so if I say anything misleading, please do let me know. Also, English is not my first language, you guys, so I'll put in subtitles to make it easier for you to understand me, so do turn it on. So, in The Sims 2, there are 5 features that can be inherited: eye colors, hair colors, skin tone, facial features, which the regions inherited are the features you can see in the cast panel usually. So it is brow, eyes, nose, jaw, mouth, though apparently in SimPE there's cheekbones and ears as well. And the 5th one is, yep, you guys are correct in the last video, thank you, it is personality point. Now, to understand how those features are inherited, except personality points, you need to know some basics of genetics, biology, genetics. Didn't think you'd be using biology playing Sims games, didn't you? We know that genes can code protein to express a trait, such as green eyes, blonde hair, so on and so forth. While searching about this topic, you might come across the word allele. Allele is a variant of a gene, like specific pair of matching genes in a specific location of a chromosome. One allele is from mom, another is from dad, a pair of alternate genes. Basically, why it's brought up so much is because the trait expressed is determined by the 2 alleles together. So how will it be expressed? Okay, let's go straight to Gabe's case, and I will be oversimplifying this, but I hope I'm helping you with your biology class. Let's break down Gabe's genetics, starting with hair color. Let's see the mom's genes, Amelia's genes. So she only has one allele, the one that code for red hair. Because there's only one type, we call this homozygous. Or you can call it whatever you want, I don't care. It's just that people around the world won't be able to understand you easily if you call homozygous genes like Bob's cakes. I mean pancakes or something. Let's see his dad's genes, Zach's genes. So he has 2 alleles, the one that code for black hair and the one that code for blonde hair. Because there's 2 different alleles, we call this heterozygous. Now, this is where The Sims 2 differ from the later games. Heterozygous genes. Sims and Sims 2 has the ability to carry two different genes, two alleles, while in the later games, this system doesn't exist. In other words, if we were to follow a Sims 3 or Sims 4 system in this case, the dad's gene would simply be black hair only, the traits that he expressed. And the traits that the child will express simply follow a 50-50 chance between the mom's and the dad's trait. But that's not the case in Sims 2. When dealing with heterozygous genes, we will have to follow dominant-recessive system to figure out what will be expressed between the two alleles. In this case, black is dominant over blonde, and that's why the dad expressed black hair. In Sims 2, for hair color, the dominant traits are the darker colors, which are black and brown hair, while the recessive traits are the lighter colors, which are blonde and red hair. Because black-brown dominates over blonde-red expression, players might see black-brown hair Sims infiltrate their generation game for a long, long time. Heterozygous pair can only occur if the sim has parents to refer to, so either from birth in game or make a child feature in CAS. So if there's no parents to refer to, like creating sim from scratch in CAS or maybe townies, they will always have homozygous genes. That's why pairing a black-haired sim with a blonde sim, both made in CAS without parents, will always result in children with black hair, 100% possibility. But then again, the only combination possible in that case is heterozygous. So interestingly, if the child then ended up with someone blonde, the chances of an offspring being blonde increased from the initial 0% to 50% in the second generation. Anyways, because the dad has black hair gene and blonde hair gene while the mom got a red hair gene, let's see what alternatives we got. In this case, we got two recessive alleles that are paired together. In real life, this would be a lot more complicated, but in Sims 2, it follows a 50-50 chance between them. So we are left with black 50%, blonde 25%, and the remaining 25% red hair. Gabe got the 25% chance of being blonde. There you go, we cracked it! Oh yeah, you can check your own Sims DNA through SimPE. It's an external software, you can download it and check it out if you want. Next up, eye colors. This follows the same mechanics, so we should be good. For eye color, the dominant traits are the darker colors too, which is brown and dark blue eyes, while the recessive traits are the lighter colors, which is gray, blue, and green eyes. For Gabe's case, the dad has light blue CC and green base game eyes, while the mom has green CC and dark blue CC eyes. One thing I want to point out, especially in the eye section where the eye color here is tied with a specific code, is that from what I've seen, CC is mostly dominant with a completely new code, except the creator altered it to replace the base game coding or something similar. So here you can see that even though technically Amelia should have expressed dark blue, instead she expressed green, which should be recessive. This is because here green is CC content and thus is also dominant. This is what I think is happening, but if you have any more info, please tell me. The combinations are a bit more complex than the last one, but we got overall light blue CC 25%, dark blue CC 37.5%, green eyes CC 37.5%, and it is impossible to express the green base game eyes. And overall, Gabe got the 37.5% chance to have green eyes CC. Alien eyes follows the same principles as CC eyes. It is dominant. For aliens, there's really only two prominent features exclusive to aliens, the alien eyes and skin tone. Meet Olex, Zach's uncle. He married Stella. You see, Olex is an alien Sim hybrid, while Stella is pure alien. They have two children together. Let's see Angelica and Galactica's genetics. So Olex has alien and light blue CC eyes, while Stella, as pure alien, has homozygous alien eyes. There's two combinations possible in this case. Angelica has the alien eyes. She expressed the alien eyes, while Galactica received the light blue eyes CC and alien eyes. She expressed the light blue eyes CC. Let's move on to the third one, which is facial feature. Facial features inheritance is mostly the same in Sims 2 throughout Sims 4. It follows two main principles. One, the child's facial features is a combination of the father and mother's facial features. This is not in a sense of expressing a common ground between a slider, but in a sense of one facial feature has the chances to be the mother's or the dad's, and thus a child's face will be a combination of, let's say, the father's eye shape, the mother's jaw, so on and so forth. So in the later games, this chance or probability is split equally, 50-50, while in The Sims 2, it's not, because dominant and recessive feature still applies in facial feature inheritance. Well, technically, facial features can't be recessive, because the child will not inherit this trait. They are more like non-dominant. In fact, there's no guarantee that the jaw will still be dominant in the child, because the dominance is reassigned for each sim randomly. So the dominance is most likely just to choose which one of the parents' traits does the child express. I will be referring to them as recessive throughout the video for simplicity, but remember that they are not your typical recessive. Second, I think in Sims 2 throughout Sims 4, every sim has a male and female face. So we notice that even though a male and female sims have the exact same slide value on the slider, they will look different. So even though they are a female sim per se, she has a male face that she does not express but is written in her codes. So if the couple has a boy, his facial features is a blending of his father's and mother's male faces. In The Sims 3, the features that can be inherited are head, ears, eyes, nose, and mouth. For example, in Sims 3 here, I created parents on each end of a slider, the dad on the right end, the mom on the left end, to create questionable looking Sims, but mostly to make it easier for us to identify which features the children will inherit. In this case, between the 5 children, 3 children in between them is perfect to show us that the chances is indeed 50-50, because the distribution is 3 of the mom's or dad's features and the remaining 2 is the other parents. Though it is so possible for it to not completely be 50-50, even to the point where one is expressed so much more than the other. Like when you throw 10 coins, it's not like 5 of them would always be tails and the remaining 5 would always be heads, right? It's a guideline for possibility, a likelihood if you may. In this case, the first child is the male version of the mom, and the last child is almost like the clone of the dad, because every single facial features they have is the same one as one of the parents. They are not what we ideally expect from a 50-50 chance probability, and that's entirely possible. Though I find that some miscellaneous features like brow definition, alien eyes modifier, eye height, and mouth height can be inherited separately, as I find that they are features that can be showed on a different end than the other features in the same category. In The Sims 4, the features that has templates are head shape, cheek, ears, eyes, brows, nose, mouth, jaw, and chin. The Sims 4 is the first game to remove the slider feature on the side panel and instead invite their players to directly click and drag, thus directly mold their Sims features. Remember, this was such a big move, and when people see the cast for the first time, everyone was crazy about this. Sims 4, there's no option to track, for example, how much you shape their jaw. So I created parents using templates. I also check how their face would look as the other gender and mark which templates they have. I cannot check the brows shape template though, so we'll have to guess. I think we'll have to guess the head shapes too. Also, let's not take the templates too literally, because I'm aware that when templates are transferred to the other gender, they won't highlight the exact shape that are expressed. So let's treat the templates more like a guide to help us guess. So within 6 children, mostly they follow 50-50 chance, which is about 4 of one parent's traits and the remaining would be the other parent's trait. Though in this case, one of the children expressed the dad's trait so much more than the mom's. So comparing the later games, I think in Sims 4, it is much harder to find a perfect clone of the parent like in Sims 3. The reason being is because there's a lot more sample for our probability dice. Maybe we roll about 9 times for 9 traits, whereas in The Sims 3, it is half of that, about 5 traits. In comparison, Sims 2 has about 7. So when Simmers said that their Sims in Sims 3 look too much like their parents, this probably contributes to that problem among other things. From simple probability calculations, the difference is significant. Speaking of, let's talk about Sims 2 facial features genetics. I don't know any way to find out for sure which facial feature the child inherits besides carefully examining their faces. So let's see Gabby's inherited facial features too. Facial features can be dominant or recessive, though unlike hair and eye color, its dominance is not assigned initially. Instead, it is random. Well, based on Sims 2 Guide, the chances are not entirely random, but rather gender has a contributing factor to it. Based on this table from the guide, we see that male Sims has a 66% chance to have a dominant brow and thus has a 34% chance to not have a dominant brow, while female Sims has 50-50 chance to have a dominant brow and so on throughout the table. So we see that in Sims 2, male Sims are more likely to have a dominant brow, nose, and jaw, while female Sims are more likely to have a dominant eyes and mouth. Let's see this applied in Zach and Amelia. So by peeking at Zach's genetic, Zach has a dominant brow and nose, so he didn't get the 66% chance for a dominant jaw, while as Amelia, she has a dominant brow, nose, jaw, and ears. Interestingly, she got the 50% chance to have a dominant brow, nose, and jaw, but didn't get the 66% chance to have a dominant eyes and mouth. Well, that's probability for you. So why do we have to know what features are the dominant ones from each parent? Let's pair what we find. So both Zach and Amelia has a dominant brow and nose, so the child gets 50-50 still for brow and nose expression, but only Amelia has a dominant jaw and ears. This makes the probability change to 66% of the children will inherit Amelia's jaw and ears, while 34% inherit Zach's. For Gabe and Gabby's, no children inherit Zach's jaw. This is facial features dominance. For the rest of the feature, it follows as the later games. I'm guessing that Gabe gets his mom's brow and cheekbones, also his dad's eye shape, nose, and mouth. While as for Gabby, I'm guessing she's all Amelia except for the brows. Now, let's talk about skin tones. Instead of either one of the parents like the previous features inheritance, in all of the Sims games so far, skin tones is expressed in ranges. In The Sims 2, there's 4 ranges possible for skin tone selection because it's possible to be heterozygous in this game if you count the case of CC and miscellaneous. Otherwise, for base game skin only, 1 range is possible. While in the later games, only 1 range can be made, starting from one parent's skin tone to another. So in Sims 2, throughout Sims 4, the child will not only have the possibility to express each parent's skin tones, but also the skin tones in between the parent's skin tones. The skin tone in between means quite different in Sims 2 and the later games. For The Sims 2, it's straightforward. This means selecting a skin tone that lays in between 2 tones. As you can see, there's only 4 skin tones in Sims 2. That's it. For The Sims 3 and 4, though, there's 2 things inherited when talking about skin tones. The hue of the skin tone and the value of the skin tone, like the lightness or darkness of the skin. They seem to be inherited independently, so I think the inheritance follows somewhat 2 steps. First is to choose which hue is the skin tone. It will pick 50-50 between the mother and father's hue. In Sims 3, there's only 2 natural colors in the base game, the yellowish and the reddish. In Sims 4, there's warm, neutral, and cool. Second is to select what is the value of the skin tone, how light or how dark it is. It will pick the range between the parent's skin value. As of now, Sims 4 saturation value has no effect on inheritance. Let's start some scenarios in The Sims 3 and 4. Scenario A, if both parents have the same hue but different values. I see that all children will have the same hue, but the value will be in between the parents. Scenario B, if the parents have different hue but the same value. I see that the children will have either the mom's or the dad's hue, but all children will have the same value. In this scenario, the game doesn't offer any other possibilities other than either the mom's or the dad's skin tones. Scenario C, if the parents have different hue and different value. The children will have either the mom's or the dad's hue, and the value will be in between the parents. Though I don't quite understand how the Sims 4 value distribution works, in The Sims 3, we got a pretty good distribution within the 6 children. None of them got the exact same hue or value. But in The Sims 4, I feel like they got a strong tendency to match the parents' skin tones or got fixated on certain values, especially for children between warm and cool tone Sims. Scenario D, the case of miscellaneous skin tones. In The Sims 3, the same principles happen for miscellaneous color like red, because even miscellaneous colors has values. In The Sims 4, miscellaneous group doesn't have value. Instead, it will only pick the hue, and so it will be either the mother's or the father's, making The Sims 3 the only game that are able to always inherit hue and value, no matter what skin tone the Sim has. If you read from sources, they would say that even in The Sims 2, skin has no dominant or recessive type. It's true. Well, mostly. But you might find that in SimPE, skin tone has dominant and recessive segments. This is true as well. Now we have a paradox. Still, in The Sims 2, each sim carried two different skin tones. The one that's called the dominant one is the one that's being expressed. But when paired with the skin tone of the other parents, it won't take 100% of the expression like hair color or eye color would. Some exception though. In Sims 2, some skin tones can be a true dominant. These skin tones are homozygous, CC, and miscellaneous skin tones, like the alien skin tone. But once they are heterozygous, they lose their true dominance mechanics and act like other skin tones. We also see this in Alleles and Stella's household. Alleles has alien and ACC skin, and since Stella is pure alien, she has homozygous alien skin tone. Here, we see true dominance play the role. Both her children express alien skin tones, alien. Though, of course, the alien CC skin allele combination is also possible. But this means that I will be expecting all of the children in the next generation to have alien skin tone 100%. In the Sims 2 guide, it is stated that the resulting child ends up with two skin tone genes, one from each parent. It hints that the child can express, for example, S1 that's received S1 as dominant and S4 as recessive. But in my game, I can't find this happening for base game skins. Not in my gameplay, not in CAS. From what I found, a child will receive two skin tones only if the game can't find range between the skin tones. This actually happens in Gabe's and Gabby's case. So Zach has two skin tone that he carries as one, the one that he expressed, and a light CC skin tone from his grandmother. Amelia has two skin tones as well, light CC and yellow CC skin tones. She has both of her parents' skin tone. So we have four possible ranges here. S1 to light CC, S1 to yellow CC, light CC, light CC, light CC, yellow CC. If you take a look at SimPE, you can see skin tone range. This refers to the skin tone range that the child's skin tone is selected from. Based on that, we know that Gabe has a skin tone in the S1 light CC range. Because there's a heterozygous CC here, it will be 50-50 between the two. So it's not a true dominant, but instead act as a co-dominant. It will get inherited anyway, even if it's not the one that is expressed. So Gabe has S1 light CC in his genes, which is exactly the range that he got. Gabby have a skin tone in light CC range. So here we see that she expressed and carries light CC. One of them is the grandmother's skin tone. I don't see her for 2 generations, and whoop, it's still here in my family, in the 4th generation. Thanks, Janice. So from Gabe's and Gabby's case, we see that CC skin will always be inherited. As for base game skin, because the game found a range in between, so instead of co-dominant, keeping one skin tone as recessive, instead it simply select a skin in between or the parent's skin tone. For example, S2, it will always inherit that tone as homozygous because the game actually found a skin tone between the range and chose that. And we've reached the last feature getting inherited, personality points. Sims 2, I believe, is the only Sims sequel where Sim's personality is inherited, not by chances, but by some mechanics. So for each personality trait, the child will receive the point either from his father or mother, but it can also just be random, really. In CAS, Sims can have up to 25 points to distribute between the traits, right? But if Sims are born in-game, Sims can have up to 35. Here, Zach has 35 points, while Amelia has 25 points. So you can guess which one here is born in-game. It seems to me that first, the game would choose which one of the parents' traits will be inherited randomly. After that, it will follow 2 main conditions. If the total is already 35, then all subsequent traits will be 0, but if the total point is still less than 25, points will be added to any low traits until it is 25. Or at least that's what the guide said, but really I've never seen my Sims have 35 points with one trait being 0, so what I can be certain about is that even though it might have some random mechanics within, but for me it's clear that they usually inherit about 2 or more of the mom or dad's trait. Though personality can be adjusted through the encouraged interaction, but even this has some conditions for it to not only work, but work fast enough. I won't be discussing it here, but I made a short about it if you're interested. But this means there's genetic points and there's traits that the sim learned from encouraged interactions. For me, it's quite hard to pin down exactly how personality inheritance work, mostly because randomization plays a part in it, but from what I've seen, even from other households, sims born in-game typically have some of the parents' trait, either mixed or not, with a total point between 25 to 35. And that's all we can cover about genetics. So here comes the big question. Does The Sims 2 have the best genetic mechanics? So the reason why I made the videos that I made in the style that I made is really I'm trying to invite people watching to take in as many clues as possible and use it as pieces to think about these kind of questions as objectively as possible. Here, why don't we change the question? Is The Sims 2 genetics perfect? No, it's not. The Sims 2 genetic inheritance still have so many imperfections. To name a few, there's firstborn syndrome, some broken face templates. The chances of having identical twins is close to none. And dominant traits infiltration. This is actually the reason why some simmers prefer the 50-50 inheritance chances. Some simmers even actually geneticize their game to turn off some mechanics we just go over. So, does The Sims 2 have the best genetic mechanics? Maybe. I love recessive genes. They surprise me. They remind me of my previous Sims. I don't mind them not expressed much in my game, while some players don't like their family tree filled with dark-haired Sim. Do I want to see a more realistic genetic inheritance in The Sims 5? Absolutely. Does everybody want that? Maybe not. All in all, it really depends on the player's preferences, but I hope in the upcoming addition to this 2-decade-old running sequel, genetic inheritance can have a more detailed approach, working with carefully thought-through mechanics, and I hope genetic inheritance can take back its spotlight that it truly deserves in a game about life simulation. So everyone, you've reached the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching this far. A little bit for people that comes back, I want to say I appreciate you guys so much. I don't want to blabber around too much, but all of your support means so much more to me than you might think. A little bit for people that is looking for new contents from me. I wish I could upload more. I really do. But I think it's going to be another long break. Maybe I'll upload shorts, but I really don't know. I hope this video counts as an apology though for showing up then just disappearing. I really did put my whole heart into this video and I hope you enjoyed it. But just know that I'm thankful for everyone's supportive comments and shares. You guys are absolutely heartwarming. And a little bit for people that just found me. Hi, I'm Vaisha. Great having you here in the last minute of the video. Wow, thank you. If you'd like, you can follow me along on this channel. Thank you everyone for all the support. You guys gave me energy. You've made my dreams come true. See you in the comment section. Talk to you next time. Dag dag.